Good morning. My name is Susie Grenell, and I'm the president of the Hotel Association of Canada. With me today is Xavier Gret, Directeur Général de l'Association Hôtellerie Québec, and Tony Alanis, President and CEO of the Ontario Restaurant, Hotel and Motel Association. We are proud to represent more than 8,000 hotels, motels, and resorts that encompass the 18.4 billion Canadian hotel industry. Our country's hotel sector directly and indirectly employs over 304,000 people and is a significant contributor to the Canadian economy, generating revenues estimated at $8.1 billion for all three levels of government. We are here today to release the results of a study which examined the short-term rental market in comparison to Canada's hotel sector, with a key focus on Airbnb as the most widely used digital home sharing platform in Canada. We conducted this study because we wanted to understand what kinds of people are renting these sharing platforms, how many are truly sharing their homes, and how many are running actively managed businesses. The most comprehensive of its kind, the study spotlighted 11 key markets across Canada. The results of this study reveal that commercial operators are growing exponentially and are far outpacing actual home sharing activity. So what do we mean by commercial operators? A commercial operator is an unofficial term we are using to describe the phenomenon that is occurring in which multiple units or whole homes are being rented out on a consistent basis. Alarmingly, only 17% of total Airbnb revenue in Canada is being generated from true home sharing. This means that 83% of Airbnb's revenues nationwide, that's $462 million, comes from rentals where the owner is not present. People renting either their primary residence when they are away and who own and rent multiple homes on the platform are the fastest growing segment. Over a 2-year period, this segment grew 113% in terms of available units. Superhosts, those that rent units for more than 180 days in a year, are highest in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Our study, which is consistent with other studies recently completed, concludes that there has been a significant rise in commercial activity.
This unregulated commercial activity has given rise to unintended consequences, including the loss of affordable housing, increased disruption in communities, and a risk to guests as there are no health and safety standards in place. The existing laws and regulations in Canada are not designed for the 21st century sharing economy, and in turn have allowed new entrants such as Airbnb and their hosts to avoid compliance with business responsibilities normally associated with commercial activity. These laws need to be updated so that all businesses operating in the accommodation space have a level playing field. In 2016, Guests of Canada's legitimate hotel properties contributed an estimated $2.2 billion in consumer taxes and fees based on room revenues alone. If the same consumer tax and fee rates were to be applied to Airbnb revenues, Canada's Airbnb sector has the potential to contribute $85 million in consumer taxes and fees to the Canadian economy. Today, we are calling on the federal government to amend the Excise Tax Act to create a more playing field for hotels in relation to the short-term rental industry. Airbnb and similar online platforms should be required to charge and remit HST on the service fee charged to hosts and guests. We also recommend a focused review of the overall taxation rules for all players involved in the temporary accommodation sector with a view to achieve fairness. On tax policy, other countries have taken action. Airbnb is now required to collect value-added tax and service fees in the European Union, in Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, South Africa, and Japan, among others. Canada should follow suit. Very few Canadian jurisdictions have any comprehensive legislative or regulatory response to the operation of illegal hotels. Although there are some municipalities and provinces that are currently in the midst of introducing regulations, the federal government has yet to take a leadership, and we are encouraging them to do so.
Merci Tony. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour rendre publics les résultats d'une étude sur le marché canadien de l'allocation de logements pour courte durée en comparaison avec le secteur de l'hôtellerie. L'étude a mis l'accent sur Airbnb puisqu'il s'agit de la plateforme numérique de partage de logements la plus importante et la plus utilisée au Canada. Les résultats de cette étude sont très préoccupants puisqu'ils confirment que le nombre d'opérateurs commerciaux est en croissance exponentielle et qu'il dépasse largement les activités de partage des résidences domiciliaires. Ces statistiques mettent en évidence un simple fait. Il y a plus d'activités commerciales qui se passent ici. Cette activité commerciale non régulée a donné naissance à des conséquences inattendues. En effet, telle la perte de logements à prix abordable, l'augmentation des perturbations dans la communauté et une montée des risques des clients, puisqu'il n'y a aucune régulation en termes de sécurité. Les lois et règlements existants au Canada n'ont pas été conçus pour encadrer ce type d'hébergement, et surtout au XXIe siècle. Pour cette raison, de nouveaux acteurs tels qu'Airbnb et ses propriétaires hôtes peuvent maintenant profiter d'échappatoires fiscales et éviter de respecter les responsabilités normalement associées aux entreprises dans ce secteur d'activité commerciale. Aujourd'hui, nous demandons au gouvernement fédéral de modifier la loi sur la taxation afin de créer des conditions de concurrence équitables pour les hôtels, surtout pour l'industrie de l'hébergement à court terme. Merci.
This is about fairness. The commercial operators running multiple units on Airbnb are running active businesses, and they should be taxed accordingly. Why shouldn't the government collect tax on all businesses equally? These monies fund our education, healthcare, and social services. The rules need updating so businesses are treated equally. The solution will involve the whole of government approach, including finance, national revenue, tourism, housing, and labor. We are encouraging the government to build a framework that is fair for all players, as other jurisdictions have in the world, and we are looking forward to working with the government to achieve this. To be clear, we are not against an individual using the home sharing platform to rent out a room in his or her home to make some extra income. What we are against are commercial operators acting like hotels without the same responsibilities to taxation, health and safety standards, business licenses, insurance, and accessibility requirements. These laws and regulations were put in place for good reason, and they should be upheld by anyone running a commercial operation. This is what it means to be a Canadian business. Competition is a good thing, but it needs to be on a level playing field. Thank you for your time, and we would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Any questions from the audience?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.